Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel, The Happy Life Show. And let us, for those who don't know us, introduce ourselves.
Yeah, I'm Ozay, and this is my beautiful wife, Ahiranta.
Yes, that's right. And today we're going to have a talk about relationships, specifically about trust. But shall we have a cup of tea first?
Let's have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
I think this takes tea.
And we do apologize for those who have been waiting for a video. We both had COVID.
Oh.
It wasn't too bad. We had Omicron. We were 3 days really feeling
Like shit.
well, yeah, like being hit by a truck. That is how I imagine how it
Yeah,
should
it wasn't
feel.
too bad though, was it?
No.
We kept away from having a cold for 3 years. I always catch something twice a year.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but okay, we back and we will pump out a few videos from now on to make up for the loss. All right, you take it away, darling.
Yeah, well, recently we had our daughters come down to pay us a visit, and we talked about things, and trust came up. And what I feel about trust is actually a lot of people won't like what I think about trust, but trust should never be in the English language, because the reason I say that is I know we all like to lull ourselves into a false sense of security with our partners, and where does trust come in? In a way, we are like sort of excuse me, that's the COVID.
Sorry, bit of COVID cough.
Yeah, maybe you can cut that. And so trust in a relationship. Well, firstly, right, trust. Would you trust? I shouldn't say this. A dog with a heat, a bitch on heat. And no, you don't, because there's animal instincts, and there's two things in a human. Well, three things. One is our instinctive nature, our instinctive body, which creates all kinds of instinctive behavior, and one of those instincts is to procreate. And I don't care who you are. Yeah, well, most people then will, in the right circumstances, let's say alcohol, in a whorehouse or in a place
drug use,
whatever, when the inhibitions are dropped and your sense of morality and morals are gone, then how many people maintain trust? So in my own understanding is I'm honest with myself, and we all have to be honest with ourselves. And the fact is that I think if I put myself in the wrong environment, I'm not trustable. So therefore, we have to accept something that goes against our morals and about ourselves. And our morals are fake, basically. And that is that we are animals and we can be tempted. And if you don't want any problems in your relationships, don't keep putting yourself in that environment where you're going to be tempted, or where your inhibitions may drop because of alcohol use or drug use. And just that on his own, total honesty on his own, would relinquish a lot of problems that young people are getting. Just be honest, you've got a body, you've got instincts. You've got instincts, you've got procreation in you, you've got sex drive. And years and years ago, a lot of people went into monasteries and took up celibacy. And what do we get? We got people, the sexual energy becomes perverted. And a lot of these monks who went into the holy order to become higher souls became lower souls, because they didn't recognize, they were never honest with this, the human body and the instincts. So therefore, to me, trust in the human dictionary shouldn't be there.
Just in the human condition, as the human is evolved, we are only evolved to a certain point. So
Yes.
you say when the animal instinct takes over,
Yeah.
trust is out of the window.
Yeah, and what keeps a relationship going, most relationships going? We lie, for starters. We say, I will never do that, why don't you trust me? And you would do it. I'm sorry. And so, what can we do? You know, how can we put ourselves... I mean, we are controlled by fear, basically. If I go there and if my partner knows that I'm going to have sex with anything in a skirt, or for women, anything in trousers, and you know, do whatever, then I know that if you find out, our relationship's not going to be, you know, not going to be good. It could even break up. So fear. That's not trust.
So fear keeps us within the lines.
Yeah.
So
fear.
what you were saying is that a big proportion of humanity would do things that morally are frowned upon by society because of fear. But if they knew for 100% that they could get away with...
And the inhibitions are dropped.
Yeah, and well, anyway...
Fear I'm talking about.
Yeah, but even if... Not only with sex, isn't it? If somebody really, really wants something, do you think the majority of people would take it if they knew they would never be found out? Sex, gadgets, whatever.
I would put it in another way. I would put it in another way, actually. That if people didn't make sex into such a big issue all the time, then what is sex? Does it? You know, again, you've got a messed up understanding of sex. What is sex really for most modern day people? I mean, we just come out of the Victorian era, which was governed morally by the Christian Bible, and it was incorrect to go with another man's wife, to commit adultery, and sex was solely for procreating. And anything outside of that, you know, if we have sex, we're gonna have a baby. We don't have sex for any other reason other than a baby. So if you want a lot of sex, you're gonna have a lot of children, or you're gonna kill your wife because it's just too much to take. So therefore, we have to understand. I think in most relationships, sex is pleasure, plain and simple pleasure. And like ice cream is pleasure, but too much pleasure, like too much ice cream, can make you fat, make you unhealthy, and you become obsessed by it. So you need to have control and balance. Therefore, sex is down to the person, you know, who uses it.
Yeah, but my question was, because you focus mainly on sex, but I think fear keeps us within many lines drawn up, not only sex, but also stealing or going places that you're not allowed to go, for example. So you think if the fear would drop away, if people knew they would never be found out, do you think that the majority of people would step outside of the lines?
Well, let's look at it like this. 2 in 3 relationships in America are they are in adulterous. They've had sex outside of the marriage. I think that I heard that statistic somewhere fairly recently. So, you know, how many of those people that had sex outside of the relationship took the vows and said, I will always be to you, I love you, I will never do this to you, I'll never do that to you, but they're doing it all the time, they're not being honest. And the thing is, the worst thing about that is that we put such heavy weight on to sex outside of the relationship that the children will suffer, the marriage will break up. And what is it? What do we want to look at it as? Women call it love. It's not love, it's pleasure, it's sex. And love is something completely different. If your love only counts on sexual relationship with your husband or your wife, then I'm afraid you got it in the wrong place, and you're headed towards trouble.
But some people I'm one of them, I make the conscious decision not to have sex with anybody else except with my husband. That's a conscious decision. I find sexual act something special. That's me. For you say lots of men don't see it that way, because for them it's a need, an urge.
I don't know if it's... yes, certainly I do know for a fact that I've been around 66 years now, and so I've understood causes and effects, because I've always, since a long time ago, looked at things inside myself and related and can see cause and effect, and I've always looked for cause and effect. It's just my life and the environment I come from. And I think that... What was the question again?
That some people make the conscious decision to, and I experience it in that way too. It's the sexual act for me is something special. Because as soon as my mind comes into it, I'm starting to think about moral moral issues that are put upon sex by society. The pleasure disappears. It becomes an act.
Yeah.
But if I can silence my mind, which I am able to do because of the meditation I have done, then the sex becomes very pleasurable. And the mind dropping away can be achieved by in various ways. Alcohol, drugs, or silencing your mind through your meditational practice, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think trust, as you say, should not come into it. I think I make an agreement with myself. I will not have sex with anybody else because, one, I don't desire it. Two, I don't put myself in situations where that demon could be activated. For example, you and I are always together. I build my life with you. Why would I make friends outside of the relationship and go out with those people? Or why would I go out with colleagues after work while my husband is at home waiting for me? Maybe people find that Victorian, but I make that conscious choice. That is for me, that works for me.
I think, to start with, right, if like in the war that's going on now in Russia and Ukraine, there's lots of, in war, rape and men become crazy.
Wow, yeah.
And
insecurity, isn't it?
Insecurity. And what is insecurity is, again, is relates to our instincts, and the more we become fearful and the more we become insecure, look at your life, like, if you want to find out for sure about what I'm saying now. When you become insecure, you may notice, if you're in a healthy relationship, sexually, I mean, that your sex drive will go up and up and up. And the more insecure you become, the more you want sex. And after the Second World War, the rate of childbirth it just went through the ceiling. And what was that? Insecurity, or was it, after the war? It happens all the time. So the statistics tell us.
It also tells us after funerals. When people do a funeral, they often, after 9/11, 9 months after 9/11 happened, there was a boom in babies. Yeah.
So it's insecurity, and why should two people stay together? It's because of that insecurity. Recognizes insecurity. It's not about trust. It's more of a bargain. Look, I'm insecure, and I need you beside me. You're insecure too, and I will do my best to maintain my self-discipline, and I will not put myself in that situation where I'm going to pick up another woman, and because I know I'm weak, and I know I'm not strong in those situations. And so is it. I don't think I'm any different than most people out there. I'm just using honesty, that's all. And I know people who identify to being highly moral will say, I would never do that. And then, the next, next Christmas party at the office, like, before you know it, they're banging away there, and it's that promise that she, I'll never do that moral, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And on top of this is the guilt complex that like 2 in 3 relationships in America, they're having sex outside of the relationship. And then you got in the background of your conscience telling you, oh, I've been bad to her, or I've been bad to him, I've had sex outside of the relationship. And that is spiritually, it's degressing you. Mm-hmm. You'd be better off to go into a relationship, be honest, with yourself. Be honest. If you can be honest with yourself, which is the most important person, then you can be honest with your partner. Look, I'm not strong. I'm just a human being, and I'm susceptible to temptation just like any other human being, just like a dog to a bitch that's on heat.
Yes, that is because it's really important if you want to evolve in your meditational practice, isn't it? The honesty, and to see why we have sex, why sexual acts happen. It's not only what we are dished out on TV with love affairs and you fall in love. Most people only see the other partner through pink glasses the first period of the relationship. 6 months. 6 months. 6 months. People can for 6 months keep up a facade. Yeah. But then you start seeing the real person behind it, slowly but surely. Because when we fall in love, it's not for nothing they call it like that. You fall from your mind into the heart, and that is symbolic for love, the heart. So what happens is when you meet somebody you're very attracted to and you've swept off your feet, you stop thinking, you follow in your feelings, you live with the other and spend time with the other from your feeling center. And that is why falling in love is such a wonderful feeling for most people, because your intelligence is in your feeling center. But as soon as the mind starts coming back, and that is within 6 months, the mind starts overwriting your feelings again, the problem starts. And if you're not honest with yourself, then you don't understand why the relationships never last. And then you think what you said, you have to trust the other person, you have to trust this, trust that.
I wouldn't say trust, it's just a deal.
No, but
you wouldn't hurt me and I wouldn't hurt you.
But we are talking about that word trust, that should not exist. You and I have made an agreement. We could have chosen to have an open marriage. That everybody could go and have sex with everybody else, including docking, what people are doing there outside. Me, no. There's no way. And that comes because of how I am programmed from my background. I was raised Catholic, and on top of that I was also sexually abused. So sex for me has a little bit of a weight.
Yeah.
Ozay doesn't have that at all. He has reached enlightenment in the 80s, and he is a really free soul. He will never do anything to hurt me consciously. Yeah. That is what keeps him from going in certain places, just because his compassion towards me. But what we are trying to discuss here is
we don't put suffering on one another.
That's right.
And therefore, it's not about me gratifying myself in a relationship to make my heart grow. I have to consider my partner. Remember, in some of the other discussions we had, it was we talked about, this is my goddess, this is who I worship, and nothing about me comes into it. And from that side over there, I'm her God, and nothing outside of that comes into it. And that's a practice. And we are not one of us is perfect. And so we're going to fall backwards sometimes. But every day is a new day. Every moment is a new moment. And we get up, brush ourselves down, and we begin again until we become better. And trust me, when you get older, you do get better, because there's something inside of all of us. Although we got this human body, and this human body gets us into lots and lots of trouble, like hate, anger, jealousy, greed, you name it, and it's there. There's another side of us, that's our essence nature, and it starts shining through. Only if you're honest, mind. If you can completely cloud yourself over with fake morality, fake persona, and all of those things. But as you get older and you recognise that your human condition creates suffering on your partner, then there's a law within your essence that dictates that you're compassionate as well. You have compassion deep within your roots. It's not always prevalent, because often we are like machines, and the machine nature that we become is from our instincts, and we become like dead, like we're only like on a computer, on the reading a book, reading a magazine, on the phone, going out to a party, going here, going there, and then we're so tired we go sleep, and then we begin again the next day. We go to work, we natter with the workmates, we do, and even when we were doing something like work, there's something else going on in there, and it's like, wow. In time, it's just, you have to sit up one day and say, what's my life all about? What am I doing? What's the purpose? This pleasure body, it gets me into a lot of trouble, and you have to recognize it. And there is something inside of you waiting in the background that's a beautiful being, and it causes you to have conscience. If you do something that is going to hurt your partner, you'll feel bad about it. That's guilt. And that guilt eventually, and if you keep doing it, that guilt mounts up.
Yeah,
they call it karma.
And it's the guilt that makes us run away even more from ourselves.
Yeah.
So not to feel that guilt, that's a horrible feeling, you start looking for pleasure even more and even more.
It becomes addictive.
And it becomes an addiction.
Yeah, this is the addictive personality.
And that's why trust shouldn't come into it. That is the point you want to make.
Because you miss a lot of things.
It puts you on the wrong path.
It do, yeah.
Yes.
Trust is...
You have to come inside yourself and see, I am an animal. I can be an animal.
Yeah, you are.
I am a being of lust. I am... And there are always, we are just generalizing here, a majority of people function like this. We have people that we would maybe consider damaged there, and for other reasons outside here. But we are generalizing that the majority for people.
Yeah, you consider the damage it done to you. And Ahiranta as a child was sexually abused, and she didn't know any better. And, the adults were leading her along. And she didn't know, a very innocent young child, that it was a bad thing. She didn't know it was a bad thing. It's not really a bad thing. Well, hang on now, paedophilia is bad.
Yeah, let's make that clear.
Let's get that clear for starters. Yeah. But as a child,
you don't know.
She didn't know.
No, and it was not done with violence. I was groomed well and proper. So, but it was the reaction of society that damaged me. I know you are.
No, I wanted to bring into what Ahiranta just mentioned then. That one day, a policeman comes knocking on the door and said there'd been children in the neighbourhood abused by this demon, and that, was your child okay? And she was standing at the back of the door, and she could hear all this, and she said, what's going on?
A shock reaction,
and then suddenly, from an innocent, pure child, after hearing the policeman say that it was a criminal offence, and did he abuse your child? And has your child been having anything to do with this man? And like from that innocence and that pure, beautiful child, it was all gone.
Yeah.
And
in a split moment. Yeah.
Heavyweight, and then what did this produce for the rest of her life?
Running.
Yeah, she was running away. She was trying to get rid of that dirt that she picked up, that weight that she was carrying on her.
The guilt.
All the guilt of it. And she carried it through her life. She tried to be extra good at being a mother. She tried to be extra good at being a wife. She tried to be extra good at being a work colleague. Overambitious. She tried to be extra good at making her body look great. She wanted to be wonderful in everything she did.
I succeeded though.
Yeah. They called her a yuppie because she got yuppie flu in the beginning, which led to the illness that she was to get later on, which put her in bed for 5 years.
Yeah.
And that was run trying to make herself appear better to the world. She was looking at herself through the world's eyes, through other people's eyes. And instead of seeing from within herself, her pure self, she was seeing herself from
through other people's eyes,
And so that's what I say as well.
And that's the same.
Never look at yourself through other people's eyes. We told our children that come to see us this weekend, this Easter holidays, because there's, we need to help them out sometimes psychologically to put the mind straight. And that is, get up every morning, look into the mirror. Don't matter how ugly you are, how fat you are, or because there's no such thing as ugly, there's no such thing as fat, right? You're just a beautiful person. Look in there and say, I love you. I mean, when I was a kid, it was so easy. And there was kiss marks all over the mirrors every morning, splodgy looking things and pimple squeezes like that. And but all joking aside, it's so important, whoever you are, whatever you today think of yourself, change it.
Yeah.
Change it, because there's a lot of people out there who will knock you, and because they don't even know themselves. They think that you are the person that you pretend to be, and you're not. You're not that person at all. You're something that's much more better than the person you think you are, or the person you pretend to be, or the person everyone says you are. You're not that person at all.
Yeah.
That is just a persona in order to survive.
And that is, again, where trust should not take place again, isn't it? My parents trusted the person because he groomed my parents to get access to me. So again, trust. No, we all should accept that there is an animal inside, and a parent should never trust their children with other people. When I raised Tamara, she wasn't allowed to stay anywhere. She wasn't, and people might find that restricting. No, I took her everywhere. She didn't miss out on anything, but I was there. I didn't trust anybody with her. And now we have grandchildren, and I sometimes try to hint it to our daughters. They are wonderful mothers, but they don't all have the same experience as I had, and you try to prevent it from happening to your granddaughters and grandsons even. So it's not only trust in a relationship, it is between man and wife, but also trust in relationship with your own family and your children. Trust should, like you said, it shouldn't exist. We should fully accept what lives inside of us,
because it denies who
and then you are
really
ready. And then you're also ready to recognize the first signals, and you are also ready to not put yourself in that kind of situations like work dues and going out with friends while you are in a relationship. I know different cultures go about it different ways. I'm from Holland, and in Holland there are videos on YouTube where foreigners in Holland talk about Dutch people, and it's very interesting because they mention things that are, for me, normal. I never think about it. For example, Dutch women have male friends. And it's a fully accepted thing in Holland. I never realized that until people who come from another culture, like Brazil, where it is absolutely not okay. So they say, wow, that is so different. To have male friends is a normal thing, apparently, in Dutch culture. But it can bring a lot of trouble. And trust between other people with your children shouldn't be there, because there are a lot of people out there who are very disturbed inside, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's call it disturbed.
Just remember the persona in ancient Greek, that translated into English, it means that which speaks from behind the mask.
Oh, that's fabulous.
And that's what persona means. Your persona.
Wow.
And right in the days of the Greeks, they knew that our personality is fake. And so you have to go beyond your personality, beyond your thoughts, and into yourself. And when your mind is quiet, right, and there's no thoughts of the future, no thoughts of the past, you become present. And if you can stay present for long enough, then you start experiencing beautiful, blissful states. And that's your natural state, you know. There's no need to be a persona, because as soon as you say, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, as soon as you say I am, then you go on to this, and this, and this, you're a liar. We're liars. And I say it. I just said I then, didn't I?
Yeah.
I say it.
But it's a word to communicate. Eh?
Yeah.
When we refer to ourselves, you say me or I, but that doesn't mean that you totally have to identify
No, you
with
don't
that
need to.
you speak
You don't
of.
need to believe it. You just
No.
have to accept that it's a tool.
Yes, a
And it's
tool, like in a toolbox.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to. I mean, we've created complex society around us, and we depend on society around us so that we can survive. And that's what it's all about. Just remember that. But you as a being should be blissful, should be joyful, because you're not the persona. And that persona gets you into lots of trouble, and often it kicks off instincts, adrenaline and what have you, thoughts. You know, I have a thought, it kicks off an imagination, and then it kicks off hormones, it kicks off adrenaline, and all these things. When we were out in the wilds living that way, we never, you know, we could react on it. Danger, attack, run, you know, and we could do it. But now we sit in quiet and we start thinking too much, and we're not in an environment where these hormones can
be released and burnt out.
It's energy,
Yes,
and
yes.
energy that's created can't be destroyed. And sometimes, you know, too much negative thinking.
So we become restless, isn't it? We become restless, and we start looking to burn it. We're not so physical anymore. When we grew up, and the younger viewers have no clue what we are talking about, but we had to physically go to a friend's house to see if they were available to spend time together. We had phones, mobile phones didn't exist. I mean, there was one phone in the house in the 60s, giving our age away a bit, and it hung in the hallway, and that was only to be used by an adult in case that there was something wrong, or it has all changed. It doesn't mean that was better or this was worse. It's just the way it was. So, but we were physically more active. We had physically more to do to maintain social relationships, isn't it? And now with COVID, the children don't even go to school anymore. It's recovering now, but they even had to learn from behind the computer. So, and the physical activity was almost zero, wasn't it?
So let's take it back to trust, right?
Yes.
And so get rid of trust and just understand that you're weak. And
don't put yourself in a situation.
Not to be trusted, because trust does not exist. That your body, 99% of your reactions in a day comes from this. This insecurity, this fearful, this anger, this hate, this jealousy.
And trust is a mind concept. And that can go out of the window just like that.
You serve your husband, don't serve him try not to serve him because you're insecure. Serve him because that's your God. And serve your wife not because you're insecure and you're fearful, because you're trying to get out of that. If you're a meditational practitioner, if you're trying to make yourself a better life, even if you're just an ordinary lay-by person, you can use these ideas or practices. I don't like concepts, but you can use these ideas to better your life, better your mental health, and this is what we all need. What is when we speak about meditation, I don't know if a lot of people understand exactly what meditation is.
No, but
it's a rest.
We can do that in another talk.
Yeah, it's a rest.
Yeah.
And all these things, trust and blah blah. I got to be this person. I got to be that person. I need to be nice. I need to be this. I need. You're not a library. You're not a book.
No.
You're a beautiful human being without all thoughts.
It's all
Never
about
mind.
observing ourselves in every given situation and accept what comes forward, isn't it?
Stop trying to be good.
Yeah.
You become perfect just as soon as you realise there's no such thing as perfect. And trust doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye everybody.
Until we see you again, please subscribe, hit
Yes,
the bell.
yes,
Doesn't
yes.
cost anything.
Yes.
And share our videos if that feels okay to you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, I was just going to say